Welcome back to Southpaw Diecast. I'm Scott. Today we got another Redline, and it's of the Sweet 16 family, and it's the custom El Dorado, and I got it in blue with a black vinyl top, and it's in pretty good shape. The windshield looks really good. The interior looks real good. The body looks maybe a little tarnished. We'll have to get that in the citrus strip and see what we're dealing with. But it ought to be a lot of fun, and it shouldn't be a real hard restore. So everybody stick around. Okay, so I got the El Dorado all apart. The windshield is just darn near perfect. I can't believe that for a 50-year-old Hot Wheel. So is the interior. Now the base is obviously really tarnished. And then the wheels we're going to have to replace. And then we're going to get this body in the citrus strip and give it a nice new paint job. So this ought to be fun. It ought to be pretty quick. So stick around. Okay, so now it's that time for the orange toxic goo, aka citrus strip. And let's get that body down in there and let it soak for about a day or so. And then we'll see what we're dealing with underneath. Let me go down. Let me push her down. And we'll come back and check that later. So stay tuned. Okay, so now after we got the body out of the citrus strip and got all that paint off, I'm going to go over with my Scotch-Brite wheel, and you can tell there's some debris and junk on especially the hood part. But it'll all be gone by the time I get done with using this Scotch-Brite wheel that I use on every casting, and especially when I do red lines with Spectraflame paints. It just really preps it for when you go to do the polishing. I've said that a lot before, but it's true. So as you can see right there, all that stuff is already going away. You can tell that it's already helping. So I'm just going over. I'm not going to show you the whole car doing that. It's just kind of boring. But I always just like to show part of it as a part of the process step that I take to make a red line and restore it. So it's getting there. Alright, so let's move on. Okay, so after the Scotch-Brite wheel, I'm going over it with the Flitz polish, and it's the best out there. I won't use nothing else. And I'll just show you part of the side of the car. And you can see how that polish is just turning jet black. And you just take that polishing wheel, they're cloth, you get them on Amazon. And you can get like 25 of them for like $12. And you just keep going back and forth. And then finally, that polish just really starts to soak into that wheel and the abrasive, and it really starts to turn it chrome. So let's move on. Okay, so after I scrubbed the base and sprayed it with the Flitz calcium rust lime remover, I'm going over it with the Scotch-Brite wheel, and this base is going to look brand new. I don't really like polishing the base to make them chrome. I like them to remain as stock as possible. You can use lime away and water mixture, but to me this is so much quicker and it does a better job. Okay, so here we are in the paint booth, and we're going to shoot it with some Windex Blue Spectraflame paint from the Redline shop. And what I'm doing here is just some light tack coats. And what that does is just gives it a nice tack coat all the way around the car. And then that just prevents the paint from running when you go to do your wet coats. Because you want to do your wet coats to get that really glossy, wet, shiny paint job. So when you do this, you're only putting on very little paint. As you can see here, it's just barely tinting that body. Just such a light blue. But that's okay, because there is paint on the casting, and that's going to help you. So that's why you want to let that dry for about 10 or 15 minutes. Then once you have that dry, then you can go in again with your wet coats, and it's just going to help prevent the paint from running, and it's going to stick better, and it's going to look good. So I'm doing the hood and the trunk. Don't really have to do the roof as much because this particular casting had the black vinyl roof. So we're going to tape this off after it dries and put the black roof on. So stay tuned. Okay, so after doing a couple of tack coats and letting those dry, I'm now doing more of a wet coat. And I've got it pretty much done over most of the car. I'm just going back over, doing a little bit of touch up here and there. And the hood's looking really good. Great color. And then I'm going to touch up on the side of the car back by the back fender well. I just need to hit that a little bit more. Yeah, see, that's looking real good. And as you can tell, the side's looking real good too. So let's move on. Okie dokie, I got all the parts and pieces all cleaned up and ready to go to put this El Dorado back together and see how I did with it. Windshield was perfect. I cleaned that up. The interior and this base was nice and tarnished, but look at that. And that's all due to that Flitz calcium rust line remover, guys. And then I put a nice new blue paint job on it with the black vinyl roof. So let's get it together and see what it looks like. Stick around. Okay, so here's where we started with the 1968 custom El Dorado. So now let's get to the reveal. Okay, there she is, a fully restored 1968 custom El Dorado, part of the Sweet 16 family. And she looks beautiful now that it's done. Had to put the black vinyl top on it because that's the way it came. And it was a pretty quick restore, didn't have any problems. And I love this car. I love the color that it came into. I got it for a really good price. And I'm only one car away from completing the whole Sweet 16 car collection restored. So if you guys like this video, hit the like button, show some love, and subscribe because it's always free. And we'll see you next time.